On this video, I've been doing short Hebrew grammars, looking at vocabulary, grammar, translation, and short comments. So I'm now at verse 2 of Genesis 1. Verse 1 reads, Bereshit bara Elohim et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Verse 2 then reads, V'ha'aretz hayata tohu vavohu, v'choshek al pnei tahom, v'ruach Elohim merachefet al pnei hamayim. And the earth was formless and empty, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. I want to look at vocabulary first. Haya is a verb that means to be. Tohu is a noun meaning formless. Bohu again means emptiness, a noun. Hoshek is darkness. Al is a preposition upon. Panayim is a dual noun meaning face. Tahom is a noun meaning deep. Ruach is a noun meaning spirit. Rachaf means to hover. It's a verb in the PL stem here that means to hover. And mayim is a noun meaning waters. Looking at the grammar now, just briefly. V'ha'aretz. Notice the ve here is your conjunction and the noun here is first. Normally in Hebrew, the verb comes first. Normally we have a verb-noun pattern, but here we have a noun-verb pattern, and so the noun ha'aretz is put forth for emphasis. Now the earth, we're saying here. Notice again, emphatic, the earth. He's going to comment on the earth. Ha'aretz. In ha'aretz, we have the definite article, hey, followed by the compensatory lengthening of the vowel underneath it from a pathak to a comas, because the aleph cannot take a doggish forte. We then, instead of ha'aretz, we have ha'aretz. The lamed has elided historically in the article. And then hayata is a verb. It is the G stem or the grun stem or the cow simple stem, and it is a third feminine singular from the root haya. Actually, haya means to be or was. We have what is historically here a final yod form. Historically, it would have been hayai, becoming haya, a lamed hey. So these lamed hey verbs were at first lamed yods, and in that final position under the lamed, it now in the dictionary would be haya. In the third feminine singular, the hey changes then to a tav, becoming hayata. So the earth was, and it's the cow perfect third feminine singular from haya. Tohu vavohu. Notice here we have two Hebrew words that are in literation or literary assonance. Tohu vavohu. You can almost hear the formlessness. You can almost hear the emptiness when you read it. Tohu means formless and vohu means emptiness. Notice also we have under the vav here, you have a comet. The vav here is a conjunction, and we translate it, now the earth was formless and empty, amorphous, without form and empty. Bechoshek, ve is the conjunction and choshek means darkness, a noun. We must add the verb to be between the noun and the following phrase. Darkness was. al panei tahom, upon the face of the deep. Notice al is the preposition upon. Panei tahom, al is, like I said, a preposition introducing a construct phrase here, panei tahom. Panei comes from the noun panayim, meaning face, and the ayim is dual, like what we saw in Shamayim in verse 1. However, it is in construct here with tahom. In Hebrew, when you have two nouns that stand back to back, they are called nouns in construct, meaning they are standing with each other. When that occurs, the first noun will change its vowel pointing. So panayim becoming panay. And notice also tahom is what is in construct. Panayim tahom becomes al panay then, with the shavah followed by the tseri yod. And then this is common in plural nouns that stand in the first position of construct relationships. For example, davar, a word, is devarim in the plural, meaning words. In construct, in the masculine plural, it becomes divrei, and the same can be seen of melech. The word, for example, king. In the plural, it is melachim, and in the construct, it becomes malche, with that seriyod at the ending, showing that we have a construct form here. This is what we find here then, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. When it's in construct, you then must put of between the two nouns, much like what you have in the Greek genitive. So upon the face of the deep was darkness, or darkness was upon. Notice tahom means ocean or deep. It is looking at the world ocean at the time after the initial creation that covered the earth. Then next, the Ruach Elohim and the Spirit of God, Merachefet, was fluttering. Notice Ve is just your conjunction and again, and the Ruach means spirit or wind, and Elohim again of God. We have two nouns in construct. Ruach is in the first position, so the Spirit of God is the way we would translate it. And then Merachefet is sort of debated as to how to translate it, either with soaring or with hovering. It comes from the root rachaf. In Hebrew, most verbs will have three radicals or three consonants. Some are biradical and have two. Most have three. So the mem here is a prefix, and the tav at the end is a suffix. This is what we call the D stem, meaning we have a Shabbat Pathak vowel pattern, and we have normally the doubling in the middle radical, and here we cannot do that since chet is virtually doubled. So what we look at here is rahaf is a participle, a D participle, a PL participle, and again, the reason for this is that often in Hebrew, the verbal system is built around what we had said before, pe, ayin, lamed, pa'al. And pa'al means to do. So the whole verbal system, which includes 7 basic stems, grows out of the verb to do in some grammatical grammars or presentation. And this particular word here is a PL participle. And like we said, the mem normally gives away a participial form in Hebrew, or a noun when it is prefixed to the root. So here the root rahaf, again, is the PL participle. Like the imperfect of the PL, you have a shavah followed by a pathak. Here you have the mem prefix followed by a pathak. Notice the chet would be doubled. However, that can't be doubled being a guttural, and it is what we call virtual doubling. So metahephet. Again, notice the two segols. The two segols with the top show that it is feminine. It is a double segolate construction that occurs in these feminine participles. It goes with ruach, and it is and like I said, it is a feminine participle, PO stem singular, from that root ruach. Rachaf means to do something intensely. The same root is used in Deuteronomy 32 of an eagle stirring up its nest. Then she rechev, she hovers intensely over her young to nudge them out of the nest, to teach them to fly, and she normally flies under them to help them in the process. But she is hovering over them intensely to get them out of the nest. That could be the idea here. Some want to relate the word rachaf to an Ugaritic parallel, meaning soaring, and using storm imagery. I tend to follow hovering in my own thinking, relating it to Deuteronomy 32. Al Panei Hamayan, over upon the face of the deep. God is hovering over the waters. Al is a preposition. Panayim again becomes Panei in construct with the final tseri yod. This is a noun in construct, masculine plural, followed by Hamayim, meaning the waters. So upon the face of the waters. Notice Mayim, the hey again, is the article, Hamayim. The doggish forte in the mem shows that something has assimilated. And what we have here, and has caused the mem to double, and that is the lamed, historically, of the article, Hal Mayim becoming Ha Mayim. And so as we translate this, it's also in pause, the last word, Ha Mayim. The earth was formless and empty, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. Notice three conditions existed. The earth was formless and empty. Darkness was covering the face of the waters, the world's ocean, as it were, and God's Spirit was hovering over the face of the waters, getting ready to bring maturity, getting ready to bring a creative act upon this situation.